From the same company that has brought you the Precision Cooker Sous Vide, this is the Anova Precision Oven. Everyone's been dying to know, what's it like? Well, I have my hands on one. By the way, this is an unsponsored review. I paid for this like everybody else, ordered it from the website. So more on the Precision Oven coming up right after this. So what is this Anova Precision Oven? Is this just a real glorified toaster oven, or is it something that you really need in your kitchen? Well, first of all, what is a Combi oven? Well, it's a regular oven, just like your one you have in your range or in your wall. It has a bottom element, it has a top element. And then it also has a rear element with a fan. So it's a convection oven as well. So it blows all that hot air around. It works like an air fryer. And it also has a steam generator, which allows this to do a whole bunch of other things, not just steaming, but for proofing breads, doing sous vide. And it does all this while sitting on your counter. Now, this is not the very first Combi oven. They've been around for years and years, mainly in commercial uses. Check out this picture I took at a restaurant supply store the other day. That's right, that's $23,000 for that oven. That's right, these things are not cheap. And you can get Combi ovens for your regular household use as well, but even those ones cost several thousands of dollars. This one goes for just $600 and it has a ton of features. I remember a decade ago when sous vide was just starting to become a thing. However, it was gonna run you $500 or $600 for a unit. They were used in restaurants, and then companies like Anova came out with their own precision cookers, their sous vide sticks, and it made it so accessible to the masses, made it accessible to everyone, and I think this is what they're doing with this precision oven. So let's have a look at it now. First thing you notice when you take it out of the box, this thing is no small toaster oven, and it weighs quite a bit. It's 50 pounds, and the exterior dimensions is it's 22 inches wide, and the depth is, they say 17 inches, but that's just basically right to the edge here. If you include the handle, you can consider that 20 inches for the actual depth, and it's 14 inches high. So this is a pretty big unit, and you have to make sure you do have a little extra space for venting above the unit and on either side. As you can see on the handle, here are all your controls. Let's start from the left side. You have your Wi-Fi symbol. Then you have your selector for which burners you are going to use. So you have regular top, bottom, your bottom, you have just your top, and you have your rear. And you can do some other combinations, like let's say having the rear and the bottom, but you cannot do that through the manual controls on the handle. You can do it through the app, which we'll talk about in a second. Then beside that, you have your temperature control. If you hit that thermometer, you can see it goes into sous vide mode, and hit that back into regular oven mode. You have your timer. You hit that again, that's gonna also give you your probe. This comes with a temperature probe, and that's gonna give you your food internal temperature. And of course, the steam symbol, you can adjust how much steam or relative humidity that you put into that oven. And then beside that, you have your on and off button as well. By the way, this is by no means a technical review of this oven. There are pages and pages and pages of information on the internet for sous vide, for combi cooking. There's a lot of science involved to it. But the nice thing is that Anova has done a lot of the homework for you. They've created an app, and if you go and scroll through, they have all sorts of recipes that you can experiment with. And with the app, you can actually control the oven. And all you have to do is hit the corresponding start buttons on the app, and it will set everything for you in different steps even. The Combi oven is definitely not as simple as the Anova Precision Cooker Sous Vide. That one, you just put it in the water, you seal your bag, and you just set your temperature, forget about it, and just come back and take it out. There are a lot more variables to a Combi oven. Anova's done as much as they can do to help you out, but there is a little bit of a learning curve, so be aware of that. Let's take a look on the inside. When you open it up, it has a nice positive feel to when it closes or when you open it. So open it up. It has been used for almost a month now, so it is not pristine and clean. It comes with a pan. We're going to talk about that in a second here. And it comes with 2 racks. There are 5 positions on the racks. And on the left side, you'll see there is a rubber stop, and you unplug that, and that's where your temperature probe plugs into if you choose to use that. Overall, you have quite a bit of room, 1.2 cubic feet to be exact, which is just a little bit smaller than one that I was looking online, a Bosch unit, and that's 1.4. So very, very good size. Check this out. Here is a 14-pound turkey, and it will fit in this oven, which makes this a perfect candidate if you have a smaller kitchen, or maybe you want something for the cottage, you don't have a range there, and you want something that can do it all. Well, this is gonna be your guy right here, and it doesn't take a lot of electricity either. Beside the oven is your water reservoir. It holds 1.3 gallons or 5 liters of water. They recommend distilled water so it doesn't scale up the internals too bad. It just keeps things a little bit cleaner. Nice thing about it, this will run for 24 hours of steam. If you're steaming something for that long, that's a pretty long cook anyways. It'll do that, and if you run out, you can actually just go and open this up and just pour more in. Unlike some other ones that have the reservoir built in on the inside, where you have to open your oven door to get access to the tank to fill it up, which you're gonna lose all of that heat and that nice steam. This one, you can just keep that door closed and then fill it up. By the way, this has excellent insulation. It does not get that hot on the outside whatsoever, and it holds the heat very well, making it very efficient. So what's a big advantage of using steam when cooking? Well, there are a lot of advantages. First of all, if you're just regular steaming, it is healthier, first of all, but also if you're using it in conjunction with, let's say, the convection, so you can go real high heat, 482 degrees this will go up to, and real high heat, and you can adjust how much steam that you put into it. It can actually cook things on the outside a little bit faster. Think of this, steam transmits heat much more effectively than just air. So let's say you have an oven and it's at 212 degrees and you put your hand in it and it's like, yeah, no big deal. Meanwhile, if you put your hand over a pot of boiling water, which is at 212 degrees, and that steam, what does that do to your hand? Yeah, you're gonna pull that away pretty darn fast because that heat transfers so fast, and you get the same type of effect when you're using steam with this oven. Another nice thing is for baking, using that steam for baking bread or buns. I've been doing that a lot, and without the steam, a lot of people that you can do it in your oven, but you're using a spray bottle and spraying all the time, and you're putting water baths underneath. Well, this one just does it all for you. You get that really nice crust. It just does it all. You can proof in this, and you can also sous vide. If you don't know what sous vide is, check out Anova's website, but I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, you know what it is, and you probably even own a sous vide yourself. So anything you can do with your immersion circulator, you can do with this oven. So you set your temperature. Let's say we want 135 for our steak that we're gonna make, and we're gonna go to 100%. Now, when you're in sous vide mode, this is different. This steam is actual relative humidity. So it's not just constantly pumping steam in so your food's all gonna be all waterlogged and soggy. No, all it's doing, it's measuring the humidity in the air, and it's just going to maintain that humidity so that way your food doesn't dry out, right? Because food is made up mostly of water, and when you cook it in a dry environment, that water turns into vapor and it evaporates, right? But if you have the relative humidity at 100% on this side, there is nowhere for that liquid or the moisture to go in your food, which means you're going to retain that moisture and you can go on and cook that for hours and hours and hours, just the same way as you would do it in your water bath. And then after when it's done, you can actually use this to finish it. Let's say for chicken, you want to finish it and get a nice crispy skin, use that top burner. There are so many different combinations, but the app has lots of recipes for that. And one reason why you can do sous vide in this machine here opposed to my big huge Wolf range is because this measures dry bulb and wet bulb temperature. And believe me, this was all new to me before I got this. I've done a lot of research, and if you really want to know all about wet bulb and dry bulb temperatures, go to their website. They can explain it a lot better than me. I can just say that dry bulb just measures the air in your oven. The regular air that you would find in your regular oven, let's say you put it to 350 and that's what it's going to be, it's 350 degrees, that's the air temperature. Now wet bulb, it has to do with evaporation and basically it's the temperature your food actually experiences. And that makes it even more precise, and that's what you really want when you're doing sous vide. You do not want some big temperature changes, because that's going to change the result of your cook. Also, this is a precision oven, so it has to be precise. How precise? Plus or minus 6 degrees Fahrenheit. And you might think, well, that's quite a bit. Well, not really. Did you know that your regular oven, when you set it to, let's say, 350 degrees, and then it turns off, and then, you know, it's dipping down. You don't even know how low it's dipping down. Well, it can dip down as low as 30 degrees. So there, you know, you have 30 degrees variance compared to 6. This is pretty darn precise. Now for venting, most of it happens right below the water tank where you see this little sticker here. And even though it does say warning, it's hot, it really isn't that hot. And what's kind of amazing is when you're actually using steam, there really is not a lot of steam coming out of this unit. It's very, very well sealed and it regulates the steam very well. A lot of times the steam vapors you are seeing is actually coming from the moisture of the food you're actually cooking. So if you're actually using this oven and you have zero steam and it's a whole bunch is coming out, it's actually the moisture from your food venting out. So I've owned this for almost a month now. What do I like about it? Well, first of all, the build quality. It's very, very solid. Like I mentioned, it's 50 pounds when you open it up. And even if you push on the walls, nothing is flimsy whatsoever. It has a really nice field on the door for the closing. I like the uniform cooking, especially the steaming. I have just used this as a steamer as well, and I have gotten better results steaming things in here than doing it on the stovetop. I don't know why. I think it's just more gentle and it just surrounds it better than having a stovetop method. Maybe you don't always want to experiment with some different recipes. This thing is excellent for reheating leftovers. Let's see if you have a steak or you have pasta. You can go and just set it to whatever temperature, let's say 140 degrees, and you can put however much steam that you want on that. I would say, yeah, let's go for 70%. And you start that up right there. You put your food in, let's say 5 minutes, and when you take it out, the quality is pretty well the exact same as when it was first initially served. Seriously. By the way, this is how loud the unit is here. I'll put my microphone close to it there. All right. It's not that loud at all. Of course, I mentioned baking bread. There's nothing better than fresh rolls or fresh sourdough loaves in this oven. Seriously, it just, the whole house smells so nice. I love the sous vide mode on this. Am I gonna get rid of my regular precision cooker? No, it still has its uses, but anything that you can do in that precision cooker, you can do in this with or without a bag. Okay, so if you want to be a little bit more environmentally friendly, you can do it bagless in here, or you can still use a bag if you want to do multiple bags. And sometimes I like to do that with my precision cooker or this, multiple bags, because I might only want to eat like a portion of it, and then I want to properly chill the other bags and then store them away. And that way I could eat them next week if I want, just by reheating. So yeah, sous vide is great. My precision cooker, what I like about that though is that it's the size. We've taken this to a cottage for a weekend getaway. I've even went tailgating at an NFL game and brought my Anova sous vide, and we made some rack of lamb there. So that's how handy the precision cooker is, and definitely it'll still get used, but probably not as much in the house with this baby. And also, if you already have a sous vide machine already, well, Hey, no big deal. Now you have two, and you can do two different things at the same time with different temperatures. So I'm sure we've all ran into that where you have steaks on and you're like, okay, I want to do chicken, but you know, it's at a different temperature. So this way you can do them both. Everything can't always be rosy. There has to be some disadvantages, right? Well, there are a few. First of all, hey, we mentioned the size, it's not small, and that can be an issue for some people that don't have the counter space. I'm lucky, I have this perfect little counter space that seems like it's made for it. I have lots of height, I have lots of room on either side, so no issue for me, but some people might have an issue with that. The second thing is that as good as it looks, the controls on this handle, I found a couple times they were not very responsive. Once again, if you're holding the back of it, or it sometimes does not work because you're grounding yourself. So if you hit like in the front, that's fine. And then the power button, I'd like to see them program where you'd have to actually maybe tap it twice to actually activate it, because sometimes I have a pan in my hand and I go and I grab the handle like this, or somehow, and my thumb or my hand hits that actual power button, it'll turn the oven off. And that's kind of irritating. But that's one nice thing about this oven. It's a smart oven. You have Wi-Fi connected to it, you have an app, and you can change firmware in this so they can actually address issues like this, and they can change certain features. So that is a plus and a minus. One thing they could add into maybe in the update is to add a way to turn off the oven light. You see, okay, it turns on when you open it up, that's fine. But when you turn on the oven, okay, now it's going to preheat. First of all, it flickers. And that's kind of a little bit annoying. I've kind of gotten used to it right now, but it will flicker. And there's no way to turn it off. It's on the entire time that you're cooking. And that kind of just wastes energy as well. So if there was a way to turn that off, that would be great. Next thing I'm not a big fan of is this pan here, okay? All right, you can even just hear it. This is one of the most flimsiest pans out there. So the problem is you put this in the oven, it's flat now, but once it heats up, it basically does an explosive warp, and it warps by like about 3 inches. And that does make a difference, not just cosmetically, but some of your food might not cook as even. Say you're trying to brown something, well, that side that's raised up is closer to the top element, and that's going to brown a lot quicker. And this is an easy solution. Yes, you could just buy a new pan, but you know what? I just paid all this money for this great oven. Why couldn't they just give us a decent pan, you know, that came with it? So I have heard that they are maybe working on something, because they are aware of this pan issue. I'm not the only one that's complaining about it. So do you really need a precision combi oven? Well, the answer, probably not, but you could say the same with any of your appliances in your kitchen. These things are there to make your life easier. There are workarounds. You can use spray bottles to spritz your bread and get the same, if not similar results, but this just makes things easier. A lot of people overbuy, regardless if they're appliances, cars, photography equipment, technology. But the nice thing about this precision oven, it's very, very technical in what it can do, but Anova really has done a good job of evening out the playing field, making it as easy as possible for people to get amazing professional results. That's not to say that you don't need to know anything. You can still experiment with lots of different things and lots of different variables and come up with your own recipes, and that's the fun of it, because cooking is fun. One of the best resources I've found after getting this oven is the Anova Food Nerd Facebook group. There are thousands of members on there that are willing to help you, inspire you with whatever recipes you have, answer any questions. It really, really is a great group. I really recommend, if you're a hobbyist or just like good food, to check them out, even if you don't have one of these or a precision cooker. It's not perfect, but the small issues that I've mentioned really are not a deal breaker. I have owned this for almost a month now. We've used it every single day. We've had a lot of fun trying out all different recipes, getting inspired by some of the recipes on the Facebook group, and to be honest, I don't think I could live without it now. Seriously, we really haven't even used the big oven at all. Yes, it's gonna come in handy for larger bakes or cooks. With a 100-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. In weight, that is, with all the good food you're gonna make with this oven, especially the bread. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Ciao.